Alright, so boom, I just returned from the Shadow Realm, right? And I've been pondering. Now that there's news of the NBA returning at the conclusion of next month, the NFL claiming not to reschedule the start of their games. I'm not too sure what's going to be happening with the preseason. I've been pondering what is going to happen in these sport leagues now that they're not going to have any fans out there. And granted, and rightfully so, they shouldn't have the fans out there because of given the global pandemic with COVID-19 and the increase of, the deaths and people catching the disease and the long treatment and all this other stuff happening. You don't want to put tens of thousands of people in one set location and just assume that people wearing masks is going to be enough to prevent the disease from spreading. So it makes sense to not have fans there. But we need to really take into consideration what's going to happen in these games if there are no fans. The whole purpose of having the best the record in your respective league is to have home court, home field advantage. At this point, the only benefit you'll have is that you have to worry about less jet lag. In the NFL, the only benefit you're going to have is worry about no jet lag. Outside of that, there is no real advantage.
Wait a minute! Before we continue, here's a word from our sponsor. You invite your buddy over for drinks. You greet each other with the most brothel embrace. But then you identify he's got some terrible headphones on top of his head. What quality do you pump into your ears? Would you like them back? Hell no! Get that trash out of here! Introducing the Raycon Everyday E25 earbud. They sound just as amazing as all the other top audio brands you may know. They work great for working from home, working out, listening to music and podcasts for hours without driving the people around you insane. Its new compact design gives you a nice noise isolating fit, and it's Raycon's best model yet, with 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a plethora of different colors. The sound quality is so pristine you can't help but dance. You'll be bobbing your head so hard every vein in your forehead will be forced to come out. And to make matters even better, Raycon starts at about half the price of any other premium wireless earbud on the market. No longer should you nor your family suffer having to break the bank to get quality earbuds. All you have to do is go to www.buyraycon.com/chiseled for 15% off your next order. Now get out there and get your hands on the best earbuds on the market. Now back to your regular scheduled programming.
Take into account how important the fans are. In football alone, when you're on offense, if you're playing at home, when you do this and signal for the crowd to quiet down, you need that so your guys can hear the snap count, your guys can understand certain things. Take into account what Peyton Manning used to do out in Denver and Indianapolis. When he went like this, everybody's mouth got glued together. It never moved. And if you spoke, you got beat up on the site. The Dudley Boys was in the back of every single stadium. I don't know how they multiplied themselves by 16 to show up at every single game, but they was in the back at all sporting events. If somebody said something while the offense and the quarterback said to do this, you got 3D'd all the way through the day. You did it in the first quarter, you not seeing no more footage of the game, you getting the 3D back there. And I ain't talking about what Earl Thomas does with his brother when they out there giving out 3Ds, but we ain't talking about that right now. In basketball, take into account momentum. If you play against the Golden State Warriors, let's just talk about Game 6 Clay. When he goes out there and splashes those threes left and right, the crowd's momentum and building, it plays into whoever they're playing against. If they are not there, it's not going to be the same. It's just playing a regular pickup game. You just call a timeout. Oh, we need to shut down the crowd. No, wait a minute. There ain't no crowd. Let's keep playing. The crowd plays a huge factor. Take into account football on defense. You go play against the Pittsburgh Steelers and they turn on Renegade, it's over. The crowd loses their mind. You can't get your snap count right. You got people false starting. Quarterback drop back and all of a sudden he's in Blitzburg taking his back to the damn turf. You get rid of the fans, that changes. More importantly, what are we gonna hear? Are we just gonna hear commentary from the announcers, and we're not gonna hear any sort of music in between plays? What are we gonna be hearing? What's gonna be happening in the stadium? I wouldn't want to watch a basketball game where I'm just hearing outlet, yo, pick right, pick, watch the screen, and you just hear a bunch of their feet squeaking. Now you think there's Master Splinter in your house. I don't know if I want to watch sports like that. Football is going to be interesting. Deshaun Jackson brought up a very good, point where he said, I think everybody should be mic'd up. That way you can hear what's really going on the field. However, there's a lot of colorful language when you're playing football. If somebody gets rocked, let's just say, oh, what we're going to do is, I'm Matthew Stafford. Let me throw a quick screen over to Kenny Golladay. Golladay goes over, he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to slip the screen. Yeah, let me step up. And here comes Jamal Adams, and it's a hard hit. You know there's going to be some colorful language there. So I don't think you probably might want to mic him up. But whatever the case may be, what the hell what's going to happen in sports if there's no fans present? More importantly, what's going to happen to the season ticket holders? What, do you get your money back? What's the deal here? I'm so confused. What do y'all think is going to happen this upcoming season without any fans around? Because I'm concerned. Because certain teams, really, think about it. You get into the playoffs, you kind of bank on the fact that you have your crowd behind you. You're playing in your city. Now that they ain't there, it's really anybody's game. As I said earlier, the only benefit that you have is less jet lag, or in football, no jet lag up until you play against a neutral spot. That plays a huge role. We can't make it seem as if that doesn't play a role, but with no crowd, that changes the game for so many different places. Like you can't go into Arrowhead or Seattle and just assume it's going to be a cakewalk. Well, we got it made. Because the crowds is one of those certain stadiums where it gets so loud. When you're on offense, you can't hear the person next to you. Now that there's no fans, if you were an offense that was stifled by the sound before, it's regular background, it's backyard football, baby. We about to have some good times. In basketball, usually the better team usually ends up winning. But in football, certain factors can alter what can happen, and all you really need is one play. I'm curious what's going to happen, man. I really am. I'm curious on what's going to happen. Y'all let me know what y'all think of the NFL, NBA, and hell, all sports being played with no fans. I understand why. Personally, I understand why there should be no fans, but it's going to be weird, man. I ain't going to lie to you. It's going to be weird. Back to the Shadow Realm I go.